If you're looking to move abroad in 2022, this video is going to give you 4 things that you should know that's going to help you to prepare for your move abroad. And if you stick to the end of this video, I'm going to give you 3 ways on how to move abroad with ease. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kirsten and this is my plant Loa. She's an aloe plant that I have kept alive for 3 months now, or 2 months, let's say 3. But anyways, I am an expat. I've been an expat for 4 years now. I'm currently living in Spain. I also have a travel consultation or travel consulting business where I help women move abroad, and I also have a freelance writing business, and with those 2 businesses combined, I help women, primarily Black women, move abroad as freelance writers. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 4 things that you should know about moving abroad in 2022. So I have been living abroad throughout the pandemic since 2020. I have only gone back once to the United States. I'm originally from California. I've been abroad, so I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of understanding of what it's like to live abroad and to move abroad during these somewhat uncertain times. So if you've been on the fence about if you should move abroad, if you are a woman like me who is single and ready for like the next step in your life, and you know that you don't want to keep climbing the corporate ladder, you know you want to go off into a new adventure, you want to reconnect to who you really are, then this is a video for you. The first thing that you should know about moving abroad in 2022 is that the travel restrictions are going to look different depending on where you go in the country. Especially coming from the United States, a lot of the travel restrictions, in my opinion, since I've been living in Spain, have been very relaxed in the United States. Gerson, if you had a hard time adjusting to the travel restrictions in the United States, know that it doesn't really get easier when you move abroad. It can actually be more intense and more strict, and that is to highly suggest whatever country you want to move to, start looking at what the travel restrictions are, start looking at what they were before, because with this new variant, we never know if things are going to go back to being really strict and like a lockdown type of version, or if things are going to kind of continue with less restrictions. So keep up to date with whatever the travel restrictions are in the country that you want to go to. I recently wrote an article for Black Girl Nerds on how to stay up to date with all these travel restrictions, and I will link that in the description below. The second thing that you're going to need to know about moving abroad in 2022 is that racism, discrimination, prejudice, just narrow-mindedness, bureaucracy, all of those like negative things that I think a lot of the negative things that are really prevalent in the United States do still exist in other countries. People still are adjusting to Black people, especially if you move to a country where there aren't a lot of Black people. People are still ignorant, but I think the relief that has happened for me is that even though I know I can walk down the street and there are going to be people that stare, and there's going to be people that stare without any inhibitions and they will just like stare me down, I know that it might be just because of curiosity. It might be because they've never seen anyone that looks like me. It is not necessarily hateful. And I think that is the thing that's reassuring for me, is that knowing that even though, yes, all of these negative things exist, even the racism still exists, I know that in general, my safety isn't at risk. I went for a hike and I made an effort to, when I pass someone on the trail, to say hola, to make eye contact. And I know that when I put myself out there, that I most of the time, 90% of the time, I will be received and welcomed. So make sure that you know that all of the problems in the United States don't just magically disappear. The bureaucracy here in Spain is almost just as a nightmare as it is in the United States. The efficiency levels in some countries that I've been to or lived in is not the same caliber as in the United States. So know that those things are different, but how you're perceived and how you feel in a country is going to be different. If you're liking this information thus far and you find the information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you want to learn more about living abroad and how you can get yourself abroad and live your dream life in a new country. The third thing you're going to need to know is that you might, moving abroad in this time during the pandemic, during a time where life is just not what it was. People are not gathering the way that they used to. People are not connecting the same way they used to. You might end up spending a lot of time alone. Maybe not, depending on where you go, who you're surrounded with. But I know that during my 2 years here, almost 3 years in Spain, when I was living through the pandemic, there was a lot of alone time. And there were times in the beginning of the pandemic where the group of the friends, luckily I arrived before the pandemic and made a wonderful group, mixture of Spanish, American and international friends, and so we all stayed connected via Skype and Zoom, and it was a really great way to get through the pandemic. Nonetheless, I did spend a lot of time alone and to myself, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It was nice to have the space to go inward and nice to get to know myself in an area, in a place where I wasn't bombarded with so much pressure. I came out a lot more peaceful than I think I would if I was in the United States, just because my mentality changed. I wasn't trying to get through the quarantine with that capitalist, always get something done. I have this time. I remember going through the quarantine. I think if I had stayed in the United States and gone through the quarantine, I would have been like, I have to do all the things. I have to get everything done. I have this time. I must do. And going through the quarantine in Spain allowed me to just reflect and do the shadow work and do the inner work and to really relax and not have to feel like I have to meet someone else's demands. And the fourth thing that you should know about moving abroad in 2022 is that there are still so many wonderful opportunities. And even though with all the changes and all the restrictions, even though there might be some time where you're spending time alone, there's still so many opportunities to connect to people. There's so many opportunities to find new avenues of work and to start working remotely or start freelancing or become an entrepreneur. I think that amongst all of these things, there's so many opportunities, even just the opportunity to grow and get to know yourself. I think those are one of the beautiful things that life abroad offers you. And there's still opportunities to travel and explore, even if worst case scenario, if you move abroad and then your city goes into lockdown, then you just get an opportunity to explore the city that you live in, that you just moved to. Even myself, I live in a small town called Jaén, and it's giving me, a lot of the times there's like these restrictions and sometimes we can go places, sometimes we can't, but it has given me the opportunity to go climb up the mountain that I live next to. It's given me the opportunity to meet in smaller groups of people and get to know people a little bit more better than I would if I had met them in a bigger group. So moving abroad, there's going to be challenges. Things are going to look a little bit different, but there are still going to be so many opportunities to create the life that you love if you decide to move abroad in 2022. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. And as promised, here are 3 ways that you can get yourself abroad with ease. So the first way is to choose a country that is close to home, or a country that can be easy to adjust to. I know a lot of the times people might have gone on vacation to a place that was really exotic, that was really interesting, However, going to visiting a place for vacation and living there can be two different things, and it can offer two different experiences. So you shouldn't always just choose a country that you liked or you had a good time with or you remember your girls' trip there. Choose a country that is practical, where you can integrate into society and start a life easily. So some things to look for are, what are the languages there? Are there other expats living in the place that you want to go? And most importantly, what are the visa requirements and the immigration requirements for that country? Looking at those three factors will help you to choose a country that is going to be easier for you to move to. And of course, if you don't like that country or you stay there a while and it's just not your thing, then you can always move to another country, and it'll be a lot easier to do that once you're already abroad. The second easy way to go abroad is to go with a program or go with a company or work. So there are definitely a lot of people. I was one of those people that kind of just went and started off. And I started teaching English online, so I knew that that was going to support me. I ended up working when I moved to Panama, I ended up working for a Panamanian company, kind of under the table. That worked out for a while, but then it didn't work out in the end. And so now that I'm in Spain, I see that it has been a lot easier for me to have moved with a program that was kind of already in place. There's still things to do, there's still legwork to do, there's still paperwork to do, but I would suggest either moving with a work abroad program or a study abroad program. Also, looking for teaching English is probably one of the fastest ways to move abroad, but it's a lot easier to move abroad when you have some kind of program that's going to help you stay in the country for an extended period of time. Also looking for jobs. There are tons of job boards, I think European language jobs, even going on to Indeed or Indeed.uk, which is the UK's Indeed, and looking for companies that are willing to transfer you to or hire you and have you move to their country so that you can work with their company. And the third way is go with a strong mindset. And so what that means is, one, you want to make sure that you're going with an open mind. A lot of the times, everything that you see on Instagram or YouTube, you see, even blogs, sometimes you see more the glamorous side of living abroad, and which it is. I love my life in Spain right now because I have more ease and more freedom. I can go out on a weekday. I can go to the beach during the middle of the week. Is possible, but there's a lot of things that happen on a day-to-day basis, a lot of things that happen in between all of those glamorous moments that are not always shown and not always seen on social media. So it's really important to go with an open mind and understand why you want this life abroad, because usually one or two things will happen to new expats. Either they'll go and the first couple of months are blissful and wonderful and great, or they'll go and the first couple of months are challenging and difficult and really hard at first, and those first couple months can either make you or break you. But if you go with an open mind, go with a clear intention, a clear why, and understand that this life abroad is going to have ups and downs and it's going to be like a roller coaster, then you're going to get more out of it. Then you're going to grow more from the experience, versus if you go and kind of expecting a life that you see that is curated on a phone screen or a laptop screen. I hope that you found that information helpful. Leave in the comments below what is one reason you want to move abroad in 2022, and let me know where you want to go. Enjoy your life. This is 2022. Happy 2022. Make sure that you take advantage, do the most, go after your dreams. And I'll finish this video with a quote that I recently heard and from one of the coaches that I work with, and it says that if you want life to change, you first need to change. Besos. Ciao for now.